They took your name, your land, your language, but not your legacy. Reclaim it at AfricanAncestry.com.
Speak about your journey experience being special education prior to becoming a college professor.
I'm good, brother. It's terrible, man. Like, it really feels like a war zone. And my mom fought to get me out of here, man. She really fought. And times where you feel stupid, because, she told me, you just spoke late. My sister said, you spoke Creole pretty good, but, they took it as that you spoke English late or you couldn't talk. So this was before, like, in Spring Valley, New York, before they had, like, ESL at that time. I was born in 91, so you could say that we were the experiments, but just being in those systems, there were times I was fighting every day where I hated myself, on top of not knowing our own history and culture. So it's a lot of scars when I think back to those times. And I know I shouldn't be where I am right now. I know everybody reminds me, like, yo, especially from my area, my hood, the fact that I got my doctorate. I guess it didn't resonate with how meaningful it is, because I still hold myself back sometimes. I'm not the smartest or best public speaker in the world, but I understand the points of education, and I know how it saved my life, and I know how hard my mom's went for me to get to this path. And I tear up because I lost in 2022, and I lost my pops in 2017. So losing both sets of my parents is just something that still scars me to this day. Because I wish they could see my success today, but I know that energy's still with me today, which is why I continue to fight. But it is frustrating because sometimes you want our people to see the value of our own history and culture, of our own knowledge systems, and it's frustrating. And I'm happy I have one of my brothers here too, Brother Tawa Adodo. I know I'm shouting you out, brother, but my brothers kept me grounded, man, and that's why it's important for us to have community. A lot of us feel isolated, we feel separated, but understand we're not meant to live on our own, man. We're meant to really build our communities together. And in this country, they want us to be divided. They want us to be isolated. They want us to be outside of our own history and culture, to be like machines. And I just want to say to our people, never stop fighting, man. Keep going. Don't believe the words that they tell you. It don't matter. And once again, this is somebody who started from the bottom, from those systems. You could do it.
In regards to the special education, right? I know they call it IEP right now. Like, in your experience, because I taught for years in Philly, so I observe and I have my view. How many kids in special education are actually have a learning disability, and how many, from being in an environment, internalize the expectation of themselves?
This is where it gets interesting, because at that time there wasn't really discussions on autism or that spectrum. But what's interesting is when I look back at a lot of my boys and a lot of my classmates, I felt we was normal. I felt like we was functional. We had other classmates, they'd be like, oh, you a special ed, try to tease us, and we getting into it, but some of us felt like we from the bottom of the societies, a lot of us coming from poor environments and communities. But when I look at like some of the comments from my teachers, I was very good as a reader. I loved history. That was one of my subjects. When it comes to math, yeah, maybe that was my strong suit, but I don't think we really had a disability when I reflect back. Although there were some who, in my case, I needed extra time, but I think that has to do more with culture and style of learning. You didn't have discussions of people who are visual learners, auditory learners. You have some students who can't necessarily see colors. So, like I said, it's a large spectrum, but oftentimes at that time, they would categorize us all in one group. And that's when it gets frustrating when you have these white teachers who don't understand the culture of these kids. These kids who might be Jamaican, African, Haitian, Dominican, and treat us like we criminals, you know what I mean? Or future criminals. And I'll give you one story. There was one time, this white teacher, she was spazzing on me for something I didn't do, and I got so mad that I threw a chair. This is like me in 4th grade, and I got so mad that I didn't really mean these words, but I said I was going to kill myself. And she calls the police, and they put me in handcuffs, plastic handcuffs, and I'm talking about someone who's a kid, you know what I mean? And then my mom's coming here, she crying, and she think I was like, I wasn't going to really kill myself, but when you a kid and you dealing with those teachers who coming at you every single day on top of the other kids in the school, yeah, you gonna be tight. Yeah, you wanna spaz out or you wanna lash out.
At that time, you were in an isolated class. You weren't mixed with the other classes. So I know how
All
to
the
go already.
classes.
Yeah, and I know that people used to get on you a lot about that. Yeah.
On top of being short and skinny too. So you know bullying was real. But I do feel for more so for the youth today because of social media. It's when I look at bullying, on top of us getting a Eurocentric education, it's quite intense for what our children are facing today. And it's unlike what I faced, you know. At least we still had some semblance of community and not as much of the social media. I mean, the internet was just starting off. If you remember Netscape, Internet Explorer, and all that, but it's a different beast we're dealing with, and we have to be very careful for the children we bring into the world, and really have to try to avoid social media because they shouldn't be dealing with this. We really have to read to our children, you know, and that's what my mother did. You know, she made sure to read, even though she also did some of the Christian stuff. She made sure I was educated and didn't play about my education. We have to be serious about installing that aspect of our culture and education to our children, because many of our children feel betrayed by their parents. And it's not the parents' fault. Some of us have to survival mode. Some of us have to work. Some of us are dealing with trauma from our own parents. So it's an ugly cycle. And of course, we understand the mechanisms of what causes this.